6 months after meeting Zimuzo, Flora and Zimuzo tied the knot in what the media called the wedding of the year. A-list celebrities, exotic dancers, live horses, and a diamond-studded gown worth millions. Flora felt victorious. She flaunted photos on social media, writing captions like, "Married rich. No apologies." She married a man with mansions, money, and mystery. But on the day she celebrated 2 years of luxury, she found out her dream husband wasn't a billionaire. Who is he? What happens when beauty blinds truth and pride costs everything? This is the jaw-dropping story. Watch and listen attentively. Have you seen a beauty without wisdom? Flora and Zimuzo had always known she was different. Even as a little girl, she carried herself like royalty. Born to a humble factory worker and a devout mother who sold akara by the roadside, Flora grew up in a cramped 2-bedroom flat in the heart of O. Yet, even in poverty, she dreamed of palaces, silk gowns, and glass slippers. By 17, Flora's beauty had become legendary. Men turned heads wherever she passed. Girls whispered, envious of her poise. Her skin glowed like polished mahogany, and her eyes gleamed with ambition. But it wasn't just admiration she earned. Behind her stunning looks was a sharp tongue and a stubborn heart. Her father, Mr. Zimuzo, often sat her down. Beauty is not a bank account, Flora. Character is what keeps a door open. But Flora would roll her eyes. Papa, character won't buy me a house in Lekki. Her best friend, Grace, was the calm to her storm. Polite, intelligent, and grounded, Grace believed in love, patience, and hard work. The two girls met in primary school and had been inseparable ever since. While Flora fantasized about marrying a billionaire, Grace dreamed of becoming a teacher, inspiring the next generation. Flora, Grace often warned, a rich man can be poor in soul. Don't chase shadows. But Flora was unmoved. I wasn't born to suffer. If love comes with a mansion, count me in. When a beauty mocks a man. By their early 20s, Flora and Grace had graduated from university and often dined out to celebrate small victories. One such evening at a mid-tier restaurant, a neatly dressed man approached them. His name was Ike. He wasn't flashy, but his aura was magnetic. Confidence with humility. He spoke to Flora with sincerity, asking to get to know her better. She sipped her cocktail slowly, glanced at his modest shoes, and asked one cold question. What do you drive? Ike blinked. I use a Toyota Corolla. Flora let out a short laugh. Sorry, you're not my type. Ike stood there, momentarily stunned. Grace, uncomfortable, offered a warm smile. I'm sorry about that, she whispered. He nodded, turned, and walked away. Later that night, Grace confronted her. Why were you so harsh? Flora shrugged. I don't have time to groom men. He should level up. Grace sighed. One day, you might push away the very person who could change your life. The arrival of Zimuzo, the man with the cash. Everything changed at the wedding of their classmate, Ifunanya. The event was grand, a luxurious hall, chandeliers, a chocolate fountain. And then came the moment that froze the entire room. A convoy of 4 black SUVs arrived. Doors opened. Out stepped Zimuzo. Tall, sharply dressed in designer wear, surrounded by men in suits, he looked like royalty. Women gasped. Men murmured. Flora was instantly drawn. She adjusted her gown and approached him with confidence. Their eyes met. You must be new around here, she purred. He smiled. Business brings me here. You are? Flora. And you? Zimuzo. He spoke of his global businesses, private jets, and investments in Dubai. Flora was sold. Within weeks, he took her shopping, whisked her to Abuja for lunch, and introduced her to his business partners. Grace remained cautious. "Flora, you barely know him. All this money, all these cars, it feels too fast." But Flora waved her off. "You're just jealous." Ike and Grace, two poor souls that were rejected by Flora. While Flora enjoyed boat rides and champagne, Grace built something quieter, something deeper. Ike, the man once mocked, began spending more time with her. He was gentle, attentive, and supportive of her dreams. Grace discovered he was more than he appeared. A quiet philanthropist, he ran youth empowerment schemes in the city and had recently started a construction firm. "Why do you live so modestly?" she asked him one evening. "Because substance doesn't need noise," he replied. Their bond deepened. What began as friendship blossomed into love. They prayed together, planned together, and even opened a small library for underprivileged kids. The wedding of lies, only one person knows the lies. 6 months after meeting Zimuzo, Flora and he tied the knot in what the media called the wedding of the year. A-list celebrities, exotic dancers, live horses, and a diamond-studded gown worth million. Flora felt victorious. She flaunted photos on social media, writing captions like, "Married rich. No apologies." Grace attended the wedding in silence, heart heavy. Ike held her hand. "She made her choice," he whispered. Flora, now living in a palace, boasted endlessly. "Grace, you and your average man won't understand. I'm treated like a queen." And truly, Zimuzo was the perfect husband. Breakfast in bed. Surprise gifts. Love notes on mirrors. A life of golden chains. 2 years passed. Flora, now joyfully pregnant, never imagined that her second wedding anniversary would bring anything but celebration. That morning, as sunlight filtered gently through their bedroom window, her husband Zimuzo called out to her with a serious tone. "Darling," he said softly, "there's something I need to tell you. I just hope you'll find it in your heart to forgive me." Flora looked up, surprised. "Forgive you? For what, my love? You haven't done anything wrong. You don't smoke, you don't stay out late, you're not chasing women. You even cook for me, something most men wouldn't dream of. You do the dishes, and to top it all, you're incredibly wealthy. These past 2 years have been pure bliss. I couldn't have asked for a better husband. You're everything to me, and I love you deeply." She smiled as she continued, "Honestly, I think my friend Grace envies me, my life, our marriage, this beautiful home. She's still living in a small flat with that boyfriend of hers, Ike. I doubt their wedding next month will come anywhere close to the one you gave me. Zimuzo, whatever it is, forget it for now. Let's just enjoy our anniversary in peace. If not for this pregnancy and the travel restrictions, we'd be vacationing somewhere exotic right now." She leaned in and kissed his cheek. "Happy anniversary, my love." But Zimuzo remained silent. He couldn't bring himself to shatter her illusion. He couldn't tell her that for the past 2 years, she had been living in a fool's paradise. What Flora didn't know was that Ike, Grace's supposed boyfriend, was not just a friend from the past. She and Ike had been in a secret relationship for over a year. And now, Ike had made up his mind. It was time to take things to the next level. That next level was marriage. He had promised Grace a surprise on day of Flora and Zimuzo's second wedding anniversary. A grand surprise. And the venue? Zimuzo and Flora's mansion. Grace had no idea what Ike was planning, but something in her heart whispered that this surprise might change everything. As surprised visitors. That same day, Grace prepared a gift basket. Ike told her, "Let's go together. I have something to share with them." Before they left, a black SUV pulled up with lawyers and police officers. Grace was confused. "Ike, what's going on?" He smiled. The past is knocking. Let's answer. The shattering truth. Flora welcomed them with joy. She hugged Grace, eyeing Ike coldly. Still driving that Corolla? Ike chuckled. Still keeping things simple. Zimuzo emerged, holding a travel bag. Where are you going? Flora asked. Before he could speak, Ike stepped forward. Zimuzo, it's time. Zimuzo sighed, placed the keys on the table, and looked at Flora. Flora, everything you've enjoyed these 2 years wasn't mine. I was never rich. I was Ike's gateman. Flora gasped. Her knees gave out. What? Zimuzo continued. Ike and I made a bet during a football match. He said if my team won, he'd let me live as a rich man in his mansion for 2 years. If I lost, I'd be fired. I won. He kept his word. Flora clutched her chest. Ike added, I loved you once. But I needed to know if you could love without gold. You failed. The mansion was cleared. Ike moved back in. Zimuzo returned to his small staff quarters. Flora, humiliated, moved into a rented flat. Months later, Grace and Ike had a quiet wedding. Simple, joyful, real. Flora sat alone, staring at an old photo of herself in a diamond gown. I had it all, and lost it, she whispered. Moral lessons. True wealth is within. Material riches fade, but character, humility, and love endure. Don't judge by appearances. Substance often hides behind simplicity. Never underestimate someone based on how they look or what they own. Pride comes before a fall. Arrogance and greed can blind a person from the truth and cost them everything. Value people over possessions. Relationships built on sincerity and kindness are far richer than those founded on wealth. All that glitters is not gold. What appears shiny and luxurious may be hiding deception and falsehood. Patience pays off. Grace's quiet, faithful heart led her to a meaningful life, proving that time and values win over haste and fantasy. Forgiveness heals, even after betrayal and mockery. Grace's willingness to forgive brought healing and peace. Wisdom over beauty. Physical appearance may open doors, but wisdom and humility keep them open. What truly matters? Life went on. Flora began volunteering, trying to rediscover her purpose. She apologized to Grace, who forgave her with tears. Ike continued his outreach, with Grace by his side. And somewhere, deep in her heart, Flora understood. True treasure isn't gold, but character. Not mansions, but meaning. Not wealth, but wisdom. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Educative African Tales.